Hey, Dominic, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah! Welcome to Ham Radio.
Holy
Dominic.
shit!
Okay.
Jesus.
Simple technology.
We're so happy
We
now.
did it. I went on the roof. I wrapped myself in fucking tinfoil.
Yeah.
And we
That's
made
a
it
sight.
work.
I know.
I looked like a giant potato.
Yeah,
It
really.
was fucking bad, but we got it working. Domenick Nati from the Domenick Nati Show, who, by the way, I got to tell you, that demo reel that you sent us, I talked about it at the beginning of the show. I'm going to tell you about it right now to your face.
Yeah.
That is one hell of a fucking demo. All right, that thing has every goddamn celebrity I could think of floating around in it. From, you have Shaq from the NBA, you have freaking Howie Mandel, you have countless mentions on TMZ, the Today Show. As Billy was saying, every show that has a T in it. Good Morning America, everything's on there. It doesn't matter, everything. Now, I got to ask, how the hell did you get all these mentions? How the hell did you do everything? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, you're also a publicist, am I correct?
Yep, that's kind of where it started. So I've been a publicist for 19 years and did celebrity interactions and celebrity PR, and then had a radio show in 2013, 2012, FM show. I got kicked off the air within 4 months for being too controversial.
What did you do? What did you do to get kicked off the air?
Well,
I love hearing radio shows, Joe.
I did interviews. I did interviews with like Ted Nugent and Bill Cosby, and that's where I started to do interviews. And then, people they just kind of came on and they said some crazy things, and it was great. We were getting a lot more listeners, but then I guess some of the sponsors thought that some things were like Ted Nugent said some crazy things about Obama when he was president at the time, and I think compared him to Hitler. And
wait, Uncle Ted said something crazy?
I know. I was stunned. Ted, that's actually a little bit controversial. I don't know. Are you sure you want to say that?
I know. Then he just broke into cat scratch fever and didn't give a shit.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So it wound up getting banned from YouTube, and then we were getting a lot of more younger listeners, but I guess the sponsors didn't like it, and they gave me, they gave me some warnings, and they just kicked me off the air. So I started another one in 2016, doing interviews again, and it's gone well. So it's kind of with the right station that kind of let me do what I wanted, and it didn't have so many rules, and it's gone pretty good. Although it's been difficult to get guests because I like to ask some controversial questions, and it doesn't always go over well.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask you, because I got two things. Number one, you fire the guy that's getting your ratings. That's real fucking smart, radio. That's why radio is dying, because they don't know how they can't get out of their own fucking way. You literally have a guy that people are listening to. That's all you fucking want in radio. For people to listen to the show. It doesn't matter what the guy's saying. Even if he's spouting hate speech, that means some group of audience is listening to the hate speech. Do you understand? So you're getting ratings. Now, if he's doing something that's illegal, I understand. Throw him the fuck out. But if he's just doing something that's causing, a.k.a. controversy, what is the fucking problem? That's number one. And speaking of controversy, though, number two, because in the demo reel, there's a couple of controversial things. Number one, it seems like the publicist of Whoopi Goldberg cut you off when you asked her a question. Because she gets on the the publicist gets, it's always been when the publicist gets on the phone while the celebrity's still on the phone. I've learned that.
Right.
Yeah.
And all you hear is, Dominic? And that's bad. That's not fucking good. And then, now, did you interview Cosby after all the bullshit?
It was actually before. So it was in 2013 and 2014. It's actually my favorite interview because I was a fan, and I don't know if you remember George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin.
Yes.
That whole thing was so I had the first interview with Bill Cosby, like I think it was the day after the verdict came in. So I asked him some things about that, and it was just kind of ironic because, in the interview, he wound up saying a swear word and asked me if I would edit it out because, he didn't want anyone to hear him swear. So that was like, and I did do it at the time because, I was like, well,
Well, that was before. That was before you found out he was raping everybody. So
right, yeah,
I understand.
So that was how his reputation was so spotless at that time. It's like you almost forget, but like he was like, I wouldn't want anyone to hear me swear. I was like, turns out he raped 50 people, but at the time, you didn't really know.
Domenick, I don't want anybody to hear me say the filth fly and the fool. So here, take this pill and shut the fuck up.
God forbid he should be profane.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So wait. So you're telling me you can't get guests because you seem to have a Rolodex full of celebrities. You've had on Howie Mandel. I was going to say O.J. Simpson, but yeah, you probably had him on. Cosby, Whoopi, and then the countless the obviously gay guy from what the fuck is that show? The one that he just got out of jail. Yeah, the Christies.
Yeah.
The guy who's not gay but totally gay from the Christies. And then that you got a lot of press for because he actually went on your show and was trying to fight the allegations that he's not gay, and also that the fact that he pays his taxes. Both inaccurate.
Yeah, so he came on. I asked him about tax evasion, which was not really a hot topic at the time. It was 2017, and he wound up probably saying more than he thought he was gonna. And he said that he pays, almost $1 million a year in taxes, and then they also said that he wasn't gay, and I didn't really think it was too big of a deal. But I know after the taxes, when he talked about that, I wound up getting a call. About 2 years later, I got a call from a news station in Atlanta and said, can we use your interview on our broadcast? And I said, sure. I was like, what one? And then they said, oh, well, the IRS docket came out today, and your interview is mentioned in it.
Jesus.
So they're using it as evidence in court, and a lot of people felt like he incriminated himself in that interview. And I didn't even really know. I'm not really the brightest person, so it's like I didn't even understand why what the problem was. He also told me that he lives in Florida, so he doesn't have to pay property taxes, which is kind of odd because the show is clearly filmed in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I don't. So I also then Good Morning America, when they put out the story, it kind of came clear of why. The network that he was on kept calling and emailing, wanting to talk to me before I put anything out, and I was like, nah, I'm just going to put it out.
See, I'm over here busting my ass, begging for somebody to fucking fuck up and say something on our show, and then have and have Good Morning America call us and go hey, by the way, you know how hard it was in the beginning, to even get press. Let alone TMZ.
Oh,
we had stories before they were even stories on this show. We had you interviewed Carol Baskin, who's a friend of our program. We had her on. Yeah. We had the story about her fucking that the husband was still alive. We had that story, and we were throwing it at TMZ. And nobody gave a shit. And they're like, oh, well, he was on this other show. They probably mentioned you, and I didn't even know. They're probably yeah, and he was on the Domenick Nati Show, and he just showed up and said, bitch, I'm alive. I don't know. This is the shit I got to deal with. So how do you, is it because of your years and years and years of being a publicist, or is it because you are getting, and I talked to you before, I talked to you off air, so I'll be, throw it out to the audience. I don't give a shit. That's what we do on this program. That's right. I said point blank, I'm going to beg you to give us one of your contacts so I can get some better guest, one guest on the show. Even though we get great guests. I do a lot of due diligence. We get great guests on this program.
We do.
But I want to get somebody from Domenick Nati's Rolodex. Yeah, kids, Rolodexes. Okay. Look it up. I want to get somebody from his Rolodex, and I want to have them on our show. So if you can secretly on the sly, you look up, you see who you got, and you slide it in my DMs, and then that way I'll do the due diligence and actually get it booked. But I want somebody that we know for a fact that will get. Can you get me Shaq? Because I know Ricky wants to talk to Shaq.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Well, I was doing good with Shaq. You know, I mean, we had a viral video a few years ago. Then they had me do a happy birthday for him. I think for NBA at TNT, and then I wound up having this girl on my show from a VH1 show called Love and Hip Hop, and she said that she used to date him. Now, in that interview, she kind of threw a little shade on Shaq and said, you know, that like he's a cheater and like he doesn't, you know, as soon as you ask him questions, he'll dump you, and then they wound up using that clip on the Breakfast Club. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I used to work there. I know the Breakfast Club, yeah.
Oh, okay. So the Breakfast Club wound up covering this interview where she mentioned Shaq and then put it on Instagram. And then Shaq wrote, you know, on the Instagram post, just kind of like not a real nasty message, but that it kind of hurt the relationship just because coincidentally she, you know, gave us some dating gossip. And then, so I may have, a lot of bridges have been burnt, just because it's hard to, you know, get stories and keep everybody happy. But yeah, I would say this: if you see anyone, I'll send you our list of anyone that you see that you would like the contact info. I will give you the contact info.
There you go.
I used to get that, and I'll send it your way.
And I will promote the Domenick Nati Show. He's going to slide us somebody's direct contact, and we're going to contact them.
Yep.
And we're going to we're going to have a Domenick Nati guest. Through Domenick Nati, we'll have this guest, and because the thing about it is, I'm telling you right now, I don't know if. I'm a radio guy, born and bred, 20 years plus in this business. I've worked in the #1 market in New York. I've been everywhere, up and down. I now work at Sirius XM. I've seen it all, done it all, got the T-shirt, still trying to make that career even bigger than it already was, right? So now, but I have to say, that fucking demo reel is impressive because that's what every goddamn show in radio wants. You want that fucking clip where somebody says, on the Ham Radio Show, he said this, or blah, 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 blah. Right. And you have at least 20 in that goddamn reel of, like, you know, like, TMZ was sucking your dick like you wouldn't believe because they were just like, oh, and the girl's like, yeah, on the Domenick Nati Show. And then I talked to the host of the show, Dominic, and blah, 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 sucking your, slobbing your knob there, kid.
Well, I guess it's just a little bit in reverse. You know, most publicists don't, you know, I have 20 years of contacts and then, you know, was offered a show, let's see, about like 15 years in. So that's, you know, most people like yourself have perfected, you know, the art of being an on-air personality, and that's what you've done, and you know all the ins and outs. I really don't. You know, I just kind of interview that I had to play. Because like as soon as I got a soundbite, like I did this interview with, let's see, what was it? Was it Daniel Baldwin? I think it's Alec Baldwin's brother.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I knew he said something, you know, about the shooting during that film and then the gun going off in Alec. Right. So it was just like a month after that had happened, and Alec wasn't doing interviews, so I interviewed his brother. But I knew in the moment, like where he said something that I knew was going to be controversial, I was like, okay, that would be a headline. But I guess the difference is, you know, I could just go back, find that clip, send that video to, you know, my friends at CNN and TMZ and these places and say, hey, I got Alec's brother, this is what he said, and then they run with it.
Well, that's the thing, though. You have the CNN contacts because you were a publicist. So you were trying to get – who were you a publicist for? Because That's the connection you need, because that's how you get the fucking name shit. Because you can go, hey, TMZ, and you'll write directly like, hey, Harvey Levin, blah, 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 blah. You know, Billy today from the Ham Radio Show knocked over a convenience store, and we got the footage.
Well, it ain't my fault.
It is your fault.
Yeah.
You wanted smokes.
Yeah. So and that's exactly it. So I worked in entertainment PR. I worked in sports, starting off, with some like basketball players and NASCAR players when I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, and just kind of connected with them. And then I started doing their PR, and then I went from that to music. I think my first music client was DMX.
Oh,
so I did a lot in hip hop.
That's a big client.
Yeah, so I was always a fan. Growing up, I'm from upstate New York and Buffalo, so I was a big DMX fan, and then I became his publicist, and that kind of helped me. It was a challenge if you're a DMX fan. I mean, it was he was getting arrested all the time, and I had to put out statements, and but I think you start to develop contacts, and you just learn that, hey, let's make ourselves available, even if it's not. I've always just believed like saying nothing is the worst thing you could do.
Yeah, of course.
You gotta, so I would always come up with some sort of statement, and you can kind of reverse some of the taglines if you can speak your voice. So yeah.
So a couple of other things. One, I see that you're a fellow fat guy, or at least you were a fellow fat guy. Have you lost? I saw you doing your walks. Have you lost? How much weight have you lost?
Well, I lost 50 pounds, but I gained about.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I found 40 of it.
Was it on your ass?
Yeah, it was. It was. You know what? I was doing good until I started traveling, because I started getting around better food, and then that was the end of it. So if I don't have food I like around, then I do better. But
Well, that's the thing. He's a fat guy, and he also smokes cigars.
There you go.
So he's kind of like me, except he has hair.
Okay.
I have no hair.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's what he's got. He's got the connections and hair. Two things I only have some of.
Well, you got a hairy connection.
I got a hairy connection. It's called my ass ball connector.
Yeah, well,
and the ABC.
You got a better beard.
I do have a better beard than you. My beard fucking rules. I'm not going to say it doesn't.
You got it. Yeah, you're winning.
Well, because if I say my beard doesn't look good, it's a lie. So that way, at least you know. Domenick Nati, where can people hear your show? Where can they go? Let's get some plugs in here, because I want people to definitely check you out.
It's Dom Nati Show, DOMNATISHOW. That's pretty much everywhere. You can go to YouTube to see all of our interviews and some shorts, and then Instagram. A lot of them were live from there. I suggest you go to YouTube and then TikTok. That's me trying to be funny, so you probably just skip that one because it's not going well.
That's the spirit.
If you want to just watch the interviews with some of your favorite celebrities, go to YouTube at Dom Nati Show and find the celebrity you want, and you can listen to them talk instead of me.
Who do you got coming up on the next episode? Anybody big?
Well, I am. I'll be honest with you. I am struggling since Chrisley got out of jail. He was pardoned by Trump. A lot of people have resurfaced those interviews and kind of blamed me for putting him there, and that is making some people a little gun shy.
Wait a minute, hold on. They're blaming you for the freaking guy who's definitely gay. They're blaming you because him and the wife don't pay taxes, and he goes to jail. He gets out due to a pardon and all that good stuff, or whatever the case may be. And how the hell is it your fault that he was on your show and spilled his guts? not the first time he ever spit out some stuff. And he freaking comes on your show and he freaking says, how the hell is that your fault? How did you do that?
They view it as, I kind of led him into these answers and, kind of, I should have never asked in the first place. And if they have other clients come on the show, I can possibly put them in a dangerous situation. So then they never blame the client because that's the one that pays them.
Right.
And
of course, yeah.
When they get off so he always comes down on me for simply asking questions. I've been threatened to be sued a lot and defamation. I'm like, bro, you said it. I asked you a question, and then you started talking. Like, you can't get mad at me. Like, you got to control yourself, it's just part of it. It's easy to blame me, the host, for simply asking the question instead of holding them responsible for saying too much. So,
look, you tell him the only thing that Christy was led into was the bathroom at the fucking prison. All right,
I'm sure he had a great time in jail.
Yeah, I'm sure he had it was like an all-you-can-eat buffet for him. What are you kidding me?
Yeah, he probably is mad. He's out.
Yeah, all he did was lift weights. He lifted weights and he sucked cock. Probably that's about it. That's all he did.
Maybe I'll get another interview.
Yeah, see if you let's have a three-way because I'm sure he's never had two men before. Oh wait. Let's have me, you, and him, and we'll have a great conversation because I'm sure that he's going to have the answers for a lot of stuff. Dom Natty, you can check him out, the Dom Nati Show, all that good stuff. Instagram, Twitter, everything. Give Dom a chance. All right, don't be an asshole publicist. Let the guests come to him. Mm-hmm. He does good stuff. He's also going to slide us into the DMs. He's going to give us. Now wait, before we let Dom go, is he picking the celebrity or are we picking the celebrity?
I say he does.
You pick it. You tell me. You look through my past interviews, and then whoever you want contact info for, I will send it.
All right, good.
It may or may not be. I can't guarantee what they're going to say, but I will definitely tell you who I contacted for the interview.
And give me your contact at TMZ because I want a direct line right to fucking Harvey Levin. A direct line.
Okay.
All right, that's what I want. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Domenick Nati from the Domenick Nati Show. Thank you. Thank you, Dom. You're one hell of a fella.
Go get him, guys.
Go keep kicking ass, brother. Don't fucking let the man push you down, especially if he's fucking Christy from that show. Don't let him hold you down.
That's right. He's not going to fuck me in the ass.
Yeah! Well, you just lost that interview, but yeah! All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
All right, Dom Natty, everybody. Good job, Dom.
Don't bend over.
Don't bend over in front of him. Shit can go bad. That's all I'm saying.